Over time, it's been proven that Facebook and Instagram advertising is one of the most efficient and also the most affordable way to advertise your business, your product, or your service on the internet. In this video, I want to talk about how to advertise on Facebook and Instagram the right way in 2020. In other words, what are the key tips that you need to know and to leverage on so you can make the best of your Facebook and Instagram advertising in this year 2020. But I won't be doing this video alone. I have here Ken Ndubisi. He's a certified Facebook advertising expert and trainer.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for having me, Ken. So stay and watch this video. I'm passionate about growing people and growing businesses, and that's what this channel is all about. On here, I create videos on business, marketing, sales, customer service, and life. If this is your first time here, please make sure that you click on the button below to subscribe. Also, there's a bell notification button there. Click on it so you're always notified every single time I release a video, which is at least once every week. And if this is not your first time, thanks for being here again. So let's get right into it. Facebook and Instagram advertising in 2020. What do we need to know and what do we need to do? Ken, so let's just start with in the last 1 year, or say 2019 to now, what are the key things that has changed for advertisers on Facebook?
Okay. Thank you once again, please, for having me.
It is my pleasure.
Why are you whining me? It's a pleasure to be here. So when it comes to Facebook and Instagram, a lot has actually changed. Like a lot of things. I mean, if someone had been running ads for the past 3 years and the person came back to the platform now, the person will hardly recognize what's going on there, because a lot of things have changed, from the interface to most of the functions and tools that are available now. There's a lot of new things going on.
Yeah.
But I think some of the key things that stand out for me that have changed within the past year, first of all, are communities. There's been a very huge shift towards communities right now. The platforms are basically helping to promote anybody that does anything that has to do with communities. So
when you say communities, are you saying Facebook groups itself, or the pages, or what exactly are communities on Facebook right now?
Yes, so I'm talking about not just groups and events, not just talking about the assets themselves. So I'm talking about content that is geared towards communities, right?
Okay, so like niche content.
Exactly. So we're noticing that people that are creating content that have to do with bringing people together, communities, those kind of content are the ones that the platform is actually pushing. People that are just focusing on doing normal, organic, individualistic stuff, they're not seeing as much growth as people that are trying to take everybody along and build up communities. So that's one thing that we're noticing that is very, very key, that's changed over time. And then the next thing after that has to be, there's been a lot more tools right now helping people to actually get more results with their adverts. Okay. So Facebook has seen that a lot more people are spending money on adverts, a lot more people are learning about adverts, and so they are creating tools to help people better utilize and better optimize the results that they're getting with these adverts. We're seeing this in places like, for example, on Facebook now, there's something called the campaign budget optimization, right?
Yeah.
Before now, when you wanted to set your budget, it wasn't there at all. So before, if you wanted to set your budget, you have to go into your ad set level, choose the individual budget for the adverts, right? But now, as AI and everything is getting smarter, what's happening now is with campaign budget optimization, for example, you can set your budget at the campaign level, right? And then automatically Facebook will take that money and then spread it across all the ad sets that you're running, the adverts, and basically choose the best one for you and help you get better results for your adverts, right? So they're basically trying to help more advertisers get better results with their adverts. The goal is to keep advertisers coming back and spending more money, and at the end making more money for Facebook and Instagram.
So I mean, two key things that Ken has said that has changed in the last 1 year is, one, the emphasis on communities. And so if it's something you can take away, is that when you're looking at your advertising in 2020, how can you start incorporating communities into your brand building? So it's not just advertising your product or just trying to dish out content. It's making sure that there's a way that your content is sort of bringing people together and enhancing enhancing engagement on your page.
Exactly.
There's more emphasis there, so figure out how to do it. It's not just the, like you said, it's not the asset. It's not just having a Facebook group, but what are you doing on the group? It's not just using events, but how do you maximize your event listings? What are you doing on Instagram? There has to be a very deliberate effort on your part to make sure that you're actually bringing people together and building communities. And I mean, it's not just a Facebook thing, it's advertising generally. The more you put emphasis on building a community, the term results you can actually get for your brand, because these people end up staying with you and they become brand advocates and loyalists. So they're not just buying today and moving on, but they become very engaged with your brand. So that's something to take away. And then he talked about ads manager having more tools that actually helps us to sort of automate our processes and optimize how we run ads. So I mean, if you've ever used ads manager before and you haven't gone there like 3 months, you'll be shocked. Last time I went there, I was like, wait,
a lot of things
I had to like sort of figure out how everything works again. But I mean, it's really cool because once you can take your time, a few hours to sort of walk yourself through everything, you can then see more tools that can help you enhance your advertising.
True.
Okay, so let's go into like tips, right? So we want to run ads in 2020 and we want to like make serious money, make mad ROI. what are things that we need to pay attention when setting ads on Facebook and Instagram?
Yeah, so when it comes to the things that you need to actually kill it on ads, right, in 2020, I think one of the most important things to get right now is videos, right?
True.
There's been a lot of push towards videos, and when I'm talking videos, I'm not saying that you should go and break the bank trying to shoot a very professional, world-class James Bond quality type movie. I'm saying videos that talk about your product. Basically get creative, right? There's a lot of creative ways I've seen online over the past few months that people are utilizing videos. And this is not just for the videos themselves, that's the creative format itself, but the placements as well.
Yeah.
Right? So the places where the videos appear still is going to impact how creative you are on those videos, right? Very short videos actually work very well, so you don't have to do a very long video.
Yeah.
As much as possible, try and convey your message in as little time as possible.
Yeah.
Because the reality now is that most people don't have a lot of time to spend online.
But so
and
distracted.
the amount of content that is coming out is enormous, right? So people don't have time to start consuming very large videos. If you can say something in less time, say it in less time. People would consume it that way. People will understand and they will get to use the information that way.
I agree. I mean, if I was going to add to that, what I would say is utilize the full video ecosystem on Facebook and Instagram, right? So there's, for instance, on Instagram, there's the Instagram feed 1-minute videos, there's IGTV, there's Instagram Live. On Facebook, there's Facebook Live, there's also the feed videos that allow you, there's Facebook Watch. So the platforms are sort of giving you different placements within itself, so you can create different kind of videos. And the brands that really do amazing well are the ones who are able to utilize all the ecosystem. So they're doing stories, they're setting live video dates, they're doing IGTV at the same time, they're doing 1-minute videos. So regardless of what your target audience sort of like, they will find something within the ecosystem that you're creating for them to use. So yeah, definitely.
True.
Another tip.
And then the next thing I wanted to say is about when it comes to targeting itself, because this is one question, like there is no, let me just
give us expo. what should we target now with?
There is no single week that passes that someone is not asking me that question. Like, I want to make sales. What is the targeting that I should use? Like, what's that target audience that I should use? And I think people believe that there's this magic target audience that just has money waiting somewhere, that once you just target them, that you just start making a lot of money. But I try to let them know that, this targeting thing is, first of all, like this one is even before you even log into the ad manager, okay? There are some things that you need to understand, the psychology of buyers. Those are things that you need to analyze. So you need to actually go and do a bit of study into your marketing and sales to understand that even before you get to running ads. So I would just like to ask you a question. I just want to get your opinion right now. Let's say, let me give you an example. There were 2 islands, right? You're a marketer, right? And you sell shoes. You sell Nike shoes. So there's 2 islands.
It has to be Nike.
I'm just using Nike because I think most people will relate with it. Just do it. So there's 2 islands, right? And then on one island, there are people that don't wear shoes, right? They don't wear shoes at all. They don't just wear shoes, okay? And then on the second island, there are people that wear shoes. Everybody there has shoes. Some people have even up to 2 shoes. If you are a marketer and you sold shoes and they asked you to go to an island right now, and that I want to get sales, right? And I want you to go and sell my shoes.
I'll go to the island where they already wear shoes. That's the easiest way to actually get them
Why
to
would you
buy.
go to the island?
Well, because they already know the value of it, so it's easier to actually get them to sit. If I go to the island where they don't wear shoes, probably because they don't know the value, so it might be a bit harder to start convincing them to actually buy it.
You are a true marketer.
I passed the test. Baba.
Yes, but when it comes to targeting, most people that don't have that marketing knowledge, when they tell them, their first idea is, okay, I'll just take the shoes to where they don't have shoes. I mean, that's just what makes sense. But they fail to realize that if you take your shoes to where people don't wear shoes, there's a lot of factors that could go into why they don't wear shoes. It could be religious reasons. It could be because they don't just wear shoes. It's going to be a harder sell versus going to people that already wear shoes, right? So these people, they already wear shoes. Some already have multiple shoes. So it's going to be an easier sell. You know that all your message is going to focus on is just getting them to buy your own shoes. Right? Than trying to convince somebody
why they should wear a shoe in the first place.
Exactly. But when people come to targeting on Facebook, what they're trying to do is essentially they're trying to sell to people that they've not heard about them before, they're not concerned about them, they're not interested, they don't want to know why. So it's a harder sell. Okay? So this is where things like custom audiences and retargeting play a very, very big role.
Yeah.
Right? I would advise anybody that is getting into advertising right now to actually focus on building their custom audiences and using it to build lookalike audiences. Basically, helping or letting the social media platform themselves help you, because they already have this data and the data is getting more refined, is getting more streamlined, so they help you get more results. At first, though, before you start, you could take a few amounts of your money and spending it to get a few customers just to test the marketplace and test the waters. But after getting that, I mean, Facebook allows you to build a custom audience with a minimum of 100 people. So after getting that number, immediately just switch over to using a custom audience. Once you create a custom audience, create your lookalike audience, and then let the platform help you optimize. The platform is getting smart. It's there for a reason. Right? You're not just spending your money in vain. You're actually spending your money to make use of the data that has been collected. So why not just use it since data is there already? So just utilize that data to actually get better results for your adverts.
So a key thing there is, or what we should take away, is intent, right? So the difference between both islands is intent and interest. For your custom audience are simply the people who have already interacted with you in some way before. They could be your Instagram followers, your Instagram engagers, your Facebook page likers, your email list that you have, people who are walking to your offline store. The point is that at one point or the other, they've already come in contact with your brand. Now, when you then advertise to them or you market to them, it becomes a lot easier for them to be convinced because there was a previous interaction. So they already have an existing intent and interest. As against just putting your net on the ocean and feeling like, oh, okay, it might catch anybody. You know that even if it's just 100 or 200 people, as long as I continuously and consistently engage with them, because there's intent and interest already, I'm most likely going to get better results. And then once you do the custom audience, then create a lookalike from them, which is just a lookalike of the people who have interacted with you. That way it's like, I've tested this custom audience. So instead of, again, just trying any random thing, let me just duplicate and find people who look exactly or act or behave like them, so that I know that it's still within the same niche.
True. And just to add to what you said right now, another reason why this is very important, I mean, my message may have been different a year or 2 years ago, but the reason why I'm really emphasizing on this now to basically anybody running ads is because of this key reason. Ads are not getting cheaper. Yes, if you've run ads before, you definitely know this. Like there's no way to go around it. Ads are getting more expensive. So you need to be very smart. You need to be very smart about the decisions that you're making when it's your money that you're spending. It's your money on the line. More people are coming on the platform. More advertisers are coming. They are vying for the same ad space as you. And the platform is not going to say, okay, because it's your first time, we're going to charge you lesser than the other person, right? So you have to be very smart about how you're spending your money. And when it comes to using custom audiences, using retargeting, that's one of the very smartest things that any advertiser can do to actually save money, and not just save money, but actually optimize their results. So the next step, I would say for anybody that is considering doing ads, is to actually find a very good blend between influencers and using ads. I think this is also somewhere that my views have changed over the past few months, because before I used to be the person that would say, okay, just focus on ads, don't use influencers. But my view has changed a lot, and that's because I have seen the value after interacting with a lot of influencers right now, and I've actually seen the work that these guys do, and I can tell you that there is actually like the results that they can drive for you. It's very very good.
Yeah.
And then when you now combine that with paid advertising, man, it's totally different. So anything that you're doing, find a way find a way to balance it. Some people even encourage you to even start with influencers first before moving into paid ads. I would say anyone that works for you, but still find a way to balance using influencers and using paid ads, because you're going to supercharge your results.
Okay, so I have an issue with influencer marketing. I agree with you totally. Like, there's a sweet spot if you are able to balance both. But my issue is, especially in Nigerian market, we have a theme for using any influencer. So I'm a fashion brand. I would just use I don't want to call names, but I'll just use an influencer that has 100,000 Twitter followers, whether the person is a fashion icon or not. I'm into baby clothes. Again, I will just use any influencer, whether the person has kids or not, or is married or not. My view is there has to be a balance between the macro influencers that have the numbers and the niche influencers that could actually really give you the results. But what do you think?
That's true. Yes, this is very very important, because for me, numbers, being an influencer for me is not just about having 1 million followers or so, right? You want to actually go for people that drive results. And then when it comes to macro influencers, there's a lot of people that don't have like the millions of followers, but the amount of influence that they drive on the platform, you won't believe this. Like, I've interacted with some of them, and the conversations you hear, it's like this person doesn't have all the followers in the world, but the things they actually do with their current following, now imagine what they would do if they had millions of followers. So those are, again, it comes into just doing your own basic research, knowing what you should check out for before you use an influencer. So someone will just tell you, okay, because I have 1 million followers, just give me this amount. And
so it's never, when it comes to influencer marketing, it's never really about the numbers that they have on their profile. It's more on their ability to actually influence and drive results for you. And I mean, it's social media. You can always check their interactions and see if somebody has 500k followers and each tweet has only 10 retweets. That already tells you that there's no influence. So there are little things, like he said, do your research, that can actually point you to whether this person actually has an engaged community that listen and follow what they say. And those are the people you should pay attention to. And then also just go for the niche influencers. It's not always about the influencers who have a good community but are for everybody. Sometimes there are campaigns you might want to run, and so go for people who are really within that industry. If you're looking for models, find a model that is an influencer. Think of fashion, find a fashion entrepreneur, fashion influencer. Like, niche is always good, especially when you want to drive like very solid conversions. I think that the macro influencers I want to drive awareness and talkability. But when it comes to conversions, I'm always like, go for the niche guys, because they're the ones that already have a following that is already interested in that particular niche.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And then the next tip for me would be when it comes to split testing. So split testing is basically, in layman terms, basically the ability to test different creatives,
different
variables when running your adverts. This is very important, and it's also somewhere that the platform is encouraging you to actually be more creative. On Facebook, for example, now, when it comes to creating the ads, we now have options. So when it comes to, before, this option didn't used to be there, but now when you go to the ads level to create your adverts, you have the ability to create, at the ad level itself, 5 different variations of the text, the headline, the description, everything. You can create up to 5 at once and run the ad immediately, and Facebook will automatically just send everything out and help you find the best. The goal of this is basically to help you find which of the content is going to perform better, and focus on that one and get better results. So try and split test. And this is not just for variables itself, because a lot of people know about just split testing the variables, but a lot of people don't know about split testing audiences, and they don't split test audiences as much as they split test variables. So as you're split testing your creatives, the text and all that, also make out a little budget of yours to split test your audiences, right? For example, something I do when I create ads, when it comes to lookalike audiences, there's a place they ask you to create. You can create up to 10 lookalikes from a single custom audience at a single time, right? So I tend to just create all of them at the same time and use all of them, versus just creating one very big audience and just using it. I'd rather create 10 and then use all of them for an ad, right? So that's
So you
just
can
what I
actually
do.
like really try and see which one
Exactly.
works. That
Exactly.
really makes sense. I mean, I'm a big advocate for testing and data. And what split testing is actually doing is using like very small body or very small factors in a little time to actually test different things, see what actually works better, and then use that data to run your ads. So it's a more effective or more efficient way to save your money in the long run. I mean, some people would think about speed tests and like, oh, but I don't have the money to test. But the truth is, if you take out a 20% of your budget to do a speed test, by the time you are done in 5 days or a week and you find your winning combination, that would then save you money in the long run because you already know what works exactly. So definitely speed testing is a goal. Another tip I would say is storytelling, right? And it's not just Facebook and Instagram thing. It's storytelling in advertising and marketing generally. People do not want to, nobody wants to feel like they're being advertised to anymore. We don't want to feel like you're just dishing out your product or your service. We want to kind of organically engage with your content, even though we're seeing it's sponsored. But because it's so good, it's telling a story, it's connecting to us emotionally, and then we're able to just connect, and then that eventually drives conversions or influences us converting at the end of the day. But what do you think?
Yeah, that's very true. And I think something that, when we say storytelling, some small businesses or people that they think is something that, okay, I don't have a Coca-Cola budget, how like I can't create something like Coke, something very expensive. But I tell them, storytelling doesn't have to be very expensive, right? Storytelling, just as the name implies, is telling a story. So how can you tell a story within your brand? How can you tell a story with what you have currently, right? It doesn't mean it should be very expensive or very flamboyant or something. It's just taking a few minutes to look at your business, just do an introspection and say, okay, this is my business now. How can I actually tell a story? Let's say, for example, I had people coming into my store to see what I sell. How can I say something that would convince them to not only come in and then just go out, but actually come in after experiencing my store, they can go out and tell somebody else about my business. That's free money for me, right? So that's what storytelling should be for them, rather than just creating a very expensive advertising and they don't end up using it.
Okay. Any other tip?
Okay, so the last tip would be lead generation. So lead generation is very important. I think this point is something that every single business out there, every single business and brand should take very important. It ties into what we said earlier about the ads getting more expensive, right? We have to understand that even though these platforms are here today, it doesn't mean that they're going to be there tomorrow. If there's anything that we've learned from the internet in general, is that first of all, you don't own anything.
You don't own it. You have no control over
what happens. You have no control
there.
over anything that happens, right? Everything could just go just like this. It's all gone, and you have no control. Your account can be shut down at any time for any reason whatsoever. There's nobody to explain to. There's nobody to talk to get it back. If you don't get it back, that's the end. You have to start from scratch. So you always have to be thinking long term as the times are going on. And then even with things like influencer marketing amplifiers, these platforms are beginning to see them as a threat to their profitability. Yes. Because the platforms are basically designed to get eyeballs which they can convert into money for themselves. And when there's people out there trying to use these eyeballs that the platform has to convert into money for themselves without giving the platform any money, they're looking at this like, this is a problem for us. We need to find out a way to make money. You need to focus on lead gen, focus on building a list of people that have engaged with you, your customers, and actually engage with that list. Don't just build the list and just say, okay, I just have this list as a backup. Yes, because that's what some people do. They just say, okay, I just have an email list. I'm just building it in case of the rainy day. That's not how it works, right? You're building it, but you also try to engage with them so that perhaps in the future when you plan to either use it to drive sales or awareness for anything like that, those people know who you are and they actually feel that this is a brand talking to them and they actually convert.
Yeah, I don't have any other thing to add. That was that was spot on. One last question. Okay. Instagram versus Facebook.
Instagram versus Facebook. Wow. This is a very tricky question because I've always been known as the Facebook guy, but I see a lot of good things happening on Instagram. I still feel there's a lot of potential on Facebook, so I'm going to go with Facebook for now. Yes,
okay.
Yes. And then for another reason, because Instagram for me, I guess everybody will agree with this at some point. Instagram is more of like a vanity platform for most people. Yes.
I don't know that I agree with that.
Yeah,
but
it's true. Even whether you agree with it or not, it's true.
But so what I'm asking now is, in terms of ad performance,
Okay.
in Facebook or Instagram, in terms of brand building, Facebook or Instagram.
Wow. Okay, so in terms of ads, I'll just stick with Facebook because
Is it because you're the Facebook guy?
No, because when I'm on Facebook, I feel in control. Like there's many things I can control. There's sometimes I'm running ads on Instagram and it feels like a foreign land to me, right? There are many things I cannot control on Instagram. I just feel limited. I don't know whether it's just me or whether it's the way the platform is designed, but it feels like it was built.
So even when you run your Instagram ads from Ads Manager, you still feel that way?
Yes, even the way the platform is now, Seb, it's mostly it's restrictive. Let me just put it like that. It's restrictive. Okay. But on Facebook, there's this freedom. There's a lot. There's like a million things. I'm like a magician in Facebook.
Okay, so brand building, Facebook or Instagram?
For brand building, it has to be Instagram. Yes, because Instagram. Yes, for brand building, Instagram has it. Instagram has it.
All right. Thank you very much, Ken. I think that was amazing. I also learned a lot. So if you watched the video to the end, thank you so much for staying. If you have any questions, please leave your questions below. He's a YouTuber too. You can check him out at Ken Ndubisi.
Yeah,
right?
That's my channel.
Yeah, and he'll be here to answer all of your questions. Make sure you don't leave this channel without subscribing and click on the bell notification button so you always know when I release a new video.